Hey, what's up, you guys, and welcome back to another episode of the True Chronicles. Today, we're in Bedford-Stuyvesant, better known as Bedstuy, Brooklyn. We started our day off in Bedstuy at Akwaaba Mansion Bed and Breakfast. An 1860s mansion, Akwaaba Mansion is located in the heart of Bedstuy. While checking out Akwaaba, we got a chance to sit down with Monique Greenwood, the owner of Akwaaba Mansion. So, Monique, what does Akwaaba mean?
Akwaaba means welcome in a language spoken in Ghana, West Africa. So if you were to go to Ghana, they would say Akwaaba to you the same way they would say aloha to you in Hawaii or bonjour to you in Paris. Well, I was looking for a word that had relevance to what we do, and it does mean welcome. I also love the word because it's very lyrical, Akwaaba. I like it because it starts with an A, which means that we're typically first on most lists.
Okay,
and,
that was smart.
Yes, and I also wanted a word that kind of combined my culture to what I do, which is also the aesthetic of our inn. There's a combination of Victoriana from the period when the house was built in 1860, and then I've incorporated a lot of Afrocentric touches. So having a word that is from an African culture was quite important to me.
So this is interesting. It's a bed and breakfast in Bedstuy. I mean, prior to me even coming to Bedstuy, when I walked around, I was like, what's that right there? I didn't even know, this existed. Where did you get the idea from to open up a bed and breakfast in Bedstuy, of all places?
Well, first of all, I think this is a special place. Bedstuy is a special place. And I was living in the brownstone with my husband in the neighborhood. And I'm a native Washingtonian. And my husband's also he's an Army brat, so he's from all over. But when our family and friends would come to visit us, they'd have to stay at a hotel in the city or maybe the airport hotel. And they spent most of their time commuting back and forth to get to us. That's if they were okay with getting on the subway. So it occurred to me that Brooklyn in and of itself, if it were a city, it would be the 4th largest city in the country. And yet there were no hotels right here in Brooklyn at the time that we opened 15 years ago. So it spoke to me in terms of it being a valid business model, that there was a need for lodging accommodations in Brooklyn. I was already in Bedford-Stuyvesant, loving Bedford-Stuyvesant, so I thought, why not do this right here? I also thought it would be a way for people to come and really see the Bedford-Stuyvesant that I know and that my neighbors all know. Because for so long, the community had labored under misguided stereotypes.
What would you say is special about Bedstuy in your own words?
Bedford-Stuyvesant is a real community. It is a real community. People look out for each other. People care about each other. We're all concerned about having the best quality of life that we can. You really feel like you're down south up north. I mean, it feels like that for me, and I was raised in the South. And so, I know my neighbors. And I see the elders walk down the street, and we help them out. We'll shovel their snow if it's snowing and they can't get out there and do it. That's the way I was raised. And I come to New York, and I can have that same similar type of community right here in Bedford-Stuyvesant. So I think that's the real beauty of this community. And so having the bed and breakfast was a way that folks could come in and really become one with this community, and that was really very much part of our goal. Of course, this house, when I discovered it, because we lived down the street. Yeah,
this house, I read on your website, it was pretty much dilapidated.
It was. The kids in the neighborhood called it the haunted house.
Okay.
And the house had experienced a fire, and so the owners were living in a trailer that was parked on the grounds, but not in the house. So it's just kind of sitting here. And the trees were overgrown. Some windows were broken out. So, most people really looked at me as if I had 3 eyes.
You were like crazy.
Yeah,
they were like, what is she behind this house for? How did you see the vision for this home?
Well, vision is a good word because I really believe that it's important to have three eyes. So it's okay that people look at me as if I had three eyes, because that third eye is the eye of vision. It's the ability to see the possibility. I just thought this was a really beautiful, grand old home, and that we would be able to restore it and bring it back to its glory, and that people would love staying here and in this particular community. And I was right about that, fortunately. And so we opened 15 years ago with 4 guest rooms. And initially, we thought our guests would be family and friends of people who lived in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But very quickly, it became people who actually lived in the neighborhood and in the other outer boroughs.
So people like from around the block
Absolutely.
would say, I want to stay at Akwaaba.
Absolutely.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they would come for their birthdays, they would come for their anniversaries, girlfriend weekends, proposals, all of that. So it was a very special place to come.
Yeah.
And we worked very hard to make sure that it was a memorable experience. And people like the idea that they could get away without having to go far away. So we still get lots of people who come locally.
No, you're a native Washingtonian. I'm a native
You are
Washingtonian
too, right?
also.
Yes.
How did you get to New York? Did you come to New York to open up your own business? How did this all come about?
No, I am a native Washingtonian and a graduate of Howard University. And when I finished college, I came to New York to begin a career as a fashion journalist.
Wow.
And I did that. I was successful in that field. I worked at Women's Wear Daily, and then I went to Essence Magazine. I left Essence as editor-in-chief almost 10 years ago now, and then started with this whole bed and breakfast concept, because I was doing this bed and breakfast on the side while I was editor-in-chief at Essence. And I had a restaurant. In fact, I think you wanted Peaches. That was my restaurant. But I started there in that space with a restaurant called Akwaaba. And so, of course, I send all of my guests who come here to the bed and breakfast. I take care of the breakfast part. And then for lunch and dinner, I send them right down the street to Peaches. And it's amazing.
What's the difference between a bed and breakfast and a hotel?
I mean, I think the number one difference between a bed and breakfast and a hotel is that it's not a cookie-cutter experience, and that you are actually staying with someone in their home and seeing the city as a local does. When I say not cookie-cutter, every bed and breakfast you stay in is going to be unique. All of our guest rooms are individually decorated, but at the same time, we have the same amenities that a hotel has. So all of our guest rooms have private baths, but they actually have jacuzzi tubs, which is something that a hotel wouldn't have. Yes,
okay.
Oversized ones for 2. Yes.
Okay.
And then we do a full hot breakfast in the morning. And what really makes the experience special is that camaraderie that takes place, that fellowship that happens around the breakfast table. So we don't have individual tables for 2. We have one family-style table. And that conversation and that love and that sharing that happens over the breakfast table is magical.
So you actually sit with the guests?
Sometimes. I am actually
serving them. Because you did that this morning.
Yeah, yes, at the end I can sometimes sit down, but I'm always interacting with them. But my job is really to facilitate interaction between them so that they connect with each other. You know, and I will join them on occasion. But I am actually physically cooking breakfast. I am serving breakfast, and then I kind of sit in and I put in the 2 cents here and 2 cents there.